Hey there, my name is Michaela, and I'm a 28-year-old mom of 2 girls under 4.
And my name is Patty, a 34-year-old mom of 2 boys also under 4.
And we are the hosts of What's Up Mom, a podcast about kids, friendship, and navigating the always changing world of modern motherhood.
So grab that cold brew or margarita, we don't judge, and crank up those noise-canceling headphones because this week's episode starts now. Hello!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing really, really well.
Stop lying.
Today was a rough one, but overall I feel like I'm doing pretty well, to be honest with you.
Why was it rough?
I don't know. It's just the days are getting longer. The older the kids get, I feel like the less that time starts to fly and the more it starts to just slow down. So getting to bedtime is like a marathon.
I was about to say I catch myself at 6:15 going, is it 8 yet? Can I? Or no, not even 8, 7:30. Is it 7:30? Can we start the journey?
And that's it. It's literally not even getting to 8:30. It's just getting to 7 to start bedtime routine. Our bedtime routine is an hour and a half long because if I don't start it at 7, I lose my mind. Yes, I'll read you 7 books instead of playing with Magna-Tiles in the living room for the next half hour.
Did you do any shift work when you were younger?
What does that mean?
So my first job was at a grocery store. And I remember I would work 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I would get there, I would stand at the cash, and at 5 o'clock I go, okay, there's only 2 hours until there's 2 hours left.
I've done that.
And then 7 o'clock would come and I go, okay, there's only 1 hour until there's 1 hour left. And like that was how I got through the shift. And I find I do that now with the kids. And I'll go, okay, it's 3 p.m. There's only 4 hours until there's 1 hour left.
So that's interesting. I feel like maybe everyone has a different way of looking at time like that because mine's in chunks. Like get up at 7 or 8 and then it's we have 4 hours till nap time.
Okay.
Now, then it's like 12 to 3 doesn't bother me because someone's sleeping. Not
Right.
both of them, but one of them is.
Yep.
And then at 3 o'clock, I'm like, okay, the first half of the day is done. We're already through the longest part. This is nothing.
Yep.
Got 3 hours left until, dinner. It's 5:30, 2.5 hours. And then after dinner, so like mine rolls. So it's like dinner time, then bath, maybe if we do bath, and then bed. So once dinner time, 5:30 comes around, I can already like kind of breathe for the evening.
Yeah, it just starts to roll, starts to snowball, and you're like, all right, we can do this. I wonder, that is funny. Like, you have a different way of looking at time than I do, but it's funny how it's just a coping mechanism of some sort. And in your life, in my life, we both have a coping mechanism to just get us to bedtime. And then there's that decompression period from 8 o'clock until like, I'd say 8:30 where you just sit and reminisce about how the day went. And like, if it's a bad day, like you just said you had, this is your reminiscent time. So it's with me. Sorry to take you out of your decompression time. You can just decompress with me.
Like the only decompression time I have all week as well.
Exactly. So everyone should feel very honored that we take our decompression time immediately after our children go to bed to sit here and
immediately
and sit here and talk with you about different topics. How was the rest of your week?
Good.
Fabulous. My week was great. Thanks for asking. Kayla's very selfish.
You always get it. You always get to it before I do.
Sure. We just got back from a preschool meetup for Lorenzo's school. He's going to a new school in 3 weeks. And the amount of anxiety that I had going into that was, I could taste it on my tongue. It tasted like copper. And it was I'm so
You
glad
sure you
Chris
didn't
was
like
there.
bite your tongue and tasting blood?
I very well could have. I don't know. I blacked out. But we walked in and I was like, there's too many people here. And I was so happy that my social butterfly of a husband was there. And he took over. I'm like, you just go. Go. I'll sit with the kids.
Fly
You
away,
hang out.
butterfly,
Fly
fly
away.
away.
Bring me back friends. Let me know. And he's literally texting me from like across the playground. Like, okay, like, you know, Sherry's married to Joe and they have 2 daughters and they're in Lorenzo's class and they just moved here from California. And I'm like, God, I'm so happy.
There are pros to being with a social butterfly. I am the social butterfly in my relationship.
Oh my God. Where do you
And
get the energy? I don't have it. I don't have it.
I love talking to people. I love to get to know people. I love discussing things that I don't know anything about. Like, I really love talking to people.
It was 90 minutes and it felt like 90 days to me. And we left and I was like immediately going over in my head what I could have possibly done differently. And there was nothing. I legitimately like piped up and said one comment to like 2 girls that were standing. I'm like, they should really serve wine at these things. And I'm like, oh God, do they think
She
I'm
thinks I'm
alcoholic?
an alcoholic.
I'm alcoholic now. I shouldn't have said that. I'll be thinking about it at pickup for the rest of the year.
Like, oh, that mom, every time you make eye contact, you're like, shit.
Shit, she thinks I have whiskey in my freaking coffee cup. I probably do. It's just, you know, I could walk there. It's fine. Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like your week was non-eventful. You're just having a bad day, and I had an intense.
Just having a long day, you know, and it's Wednesday, so that Tuesday, Wednesday is always just the kicker of the week for me. Once I get to Thursday, I'm good.
I feel like I don't have a very good segue into our topic this week, so I'm just going to just dive right into it.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who is listening now, who has been supporting from the beginning. And if you're new here, I hope you stay, hope you stick around. We were actually planning on taking a little break in between seasons. Our first season was only supposed to be about 8 episodes long back when we planned this. And because of the overwhelming amount of support, we decided to continue season 1 with season 1.5. And this should be episode 7, I think.
I think so. I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe.
But we're going to have 16 episodes for season 1.
Which is crazy.
If that math is mathin'.
You're mathin'. I can feel it. I'd like to say thank you as well. I'm a realist. Michaela is a dreamer. We're very good friends in this type of realm. I feel like I keep us grounded and she allows my head to
fly.
Sometimes she lets us fly a little bit. So, it's great. That's why we balance each other out perfectly. So
I think the coolest part is how many listeners we actually have globally right now.
So cool. Shout out to Chile. Like, are you serious? I don't even know anyone in Chile. I want to go there. I'm down. I'm pretty sure they won like soccer a couple years ago. So, you know, hope you guys are still feeding off that.
They won the soccer cup.
The soccer cup. I don't know which one.
It's not even called soccer anywhere but this country.
Football.
So if you are in the UK, South Korea, India, Russia, Australia, Chile, Ireland, Ghana, Canada, or of course the United States, thanks for tuning in. I think that's the coolest part about all this right now is we've actually already started growing globally. And
unreal.
It's actually super cool. We probably, the two of us, look at all these analytics daily, and it blows my mind to see how much support we're getting. So thank you very much. Here's your segue into today's topic, Patty.
Yeah, analytics, which is Facebook. I'm just joking. I don't know if that segued at all.
Segue.
The segue is not segueing, which is fine.
We don't need a good segue.
We don't need one. We asked a question, and we'll get to it soon here, so stay tuned into the episode. We asked a question on our socials this morning or this week about what everyone's favorite mom Facebook groups were. We'll get to that in a second. Or are not. But we wanted to touch on some of the just online resources that you get and are bombarded with and use as a new seasoned or legacy mother. I'll just remind everybody, I use the term legacy as someone who's been in the mom world for 5+ years. I feel like you've got a good handle on it at that point. So I myself and Michaela are not yet legacy moms, but we'll get there. The big thing, I guess, that I want to kind of start on is, when you first become a mother, what's the first thing you do? When you get those pink lines on your pregnancy test, what is the first thing that you do?
Find a community of people who are also pregnant.
Okay. And where do you go for that?
I went to Facebook.
Oh my God. So the first thing I did was Google, how faint does a line have to be?
Okay. Yes.
That was my first. Didn't search for any friends.
Are blue line tests actually accurate? Is this a false positive? Should I get a digital test?
I remember feeling like such a teen mom. I'm like 20. No, oh my God, I was 30. I was 30.
How can I be pregnant? I'm only 18.
I don't know. I've just graduated high school. Like, it's the end of my
30.
life. No, it's not. Like, I'm 30. I have a 401k. But legitimately, like, you go online. That's the first thing I'm pregnant. And what pops up? Right off the top of your head, top website that you can think of. What's the first thing? You close your eyes.
Motherly.
The Bump, Baby Center, what to expect when you're expecting.
Modernmotherhood.net.
Good plug. Like it.
Thanks.
I like it a lot. Modernmotherhood.net pops up. And where do you go after that? Like, you want a community of people. You want to talk to people who are in the same boat as you. And we both went to the same place. We went to Facebook. Possibly because you're a young and millennial. I'm an elder millennial.
I'm
right?
a youngster. Yeah.
You're a
youngster.
Like
right on the cusp.
Yeah. So she's like almost Gen Zing, but she still went to Facebook. So for y'all telling us that Facebook isn't still a thing, Michaela went there.
It's not for Gen Z though.
No, I know. It's fine. We got that Riz. It's cool. I tried it on. It's fine.
The Riz is not rizzing.
The Riz is not rizzing. Oh God, no cap. So we're
you're gonna fit right in.
I know, aren't I? I think I am. I love the new lingo. Anyway, so you go to these Facebook groups and you type in what? You type in like, help. I got a pregnancy test. Or
I think that most of us went to like expecting and then your month, year due date group. Yeah.
So I don't think I knew to go there first. I think someone told me, or maybe I went to the doctor and they were like, oh, you can search Facebook. You can search the year that you're giving birth in and the month. And there will be a plethora of women who too will also be planning to give birth that month. And it's wild, man. I mean,
it is a wild place out there.
It's the wild, wild west.
Everyone, I mean, think about it. You have a bunch of people with the hormones that you have. They're all expecting babies within the next 9 months. You have questions about, appointments and the glucose test and car seats and nursery pictures.
Unidentified abdominal pains.
Unidentified substance in your underwear.
Oh, God.
Did you never see those posts?
Not that I ever want to. No, thank you. I think I skirted that one in both of my groups.
In my April group, there were a couple of those, but they at least put like hey, I'm going to put this in the comments instead of just I
just
opened the
getting
Facebook
whacked
one
in
day,
the
I'm like,
face, and you're like, whoa.
whoa. You got a doctor, right? Like, why are you putting this? Why are you airing out the laundry, girlie? Go check your doctor.
All I'm thinking about is that new Charlie XCX song. Like, do you want to guess the color of my underwear? You're like, no, I don't want to guess. Actually, turns out I don't want to see that at all. You got a little clicky thing up at the top that says hide this content. But that's exactly what happens, right? You go into these Facebook group, and it's exactly what you said. And a lot of these people are first-time moms, so they don't know. Like, the unidentified stomach pain, probably round ligament pain. Your boobs hurting 24/7, totally normal. Your, I don't know.
Restless legs in the third trimester, also normal.
God. Why do I have so much saliva in my mouth? That's a thing
Why
too.
am I always salivating?
Why am I drooling uncontrollably?
But I'm not hungry.
Stop lying. You're hungry. You're pregnant. Of course you're hungry. But you go into these groups. It was a
good place to connect with other people.
Yes.
And feel like you're a part of a community. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. And I even, God, I mean, I'm how many years into, my oldest is almost 4. I'm still a part of the November 2020 Facebook group. And now, while it has quieted down, I will tell you, we're all busy. We all have almost 4-year-olds now. There's the off chance that you're like, hey, is your kid being impossible this week? Great, cool.
You can always go back to it.
Solidarity, and it's nice to have those things. I will say, if someone does not agree with you on how you're doing things in that group, might light a comment or two on fire. I'll tell you that, right? I've seen some flame wars on those groups. I'm sure you have too.
Oh, absolutely. I love flame wars. I don't like being in them, but man, do I like refreshing to see who's talking shit. It's like watching the Real Housewives just on the internet.
Oh God, I think my favorite is like just kind of popping in and going, yeah, she's right. I don't even know what she's talking about. And they're like, yeah, it just explodes. You're like, oh God, like I was meant to be a troll. I don't know. But you're in these groups and you're getting all of this information. And this is something I'm very passionate about. I think that moms these days are having so much information thrown at them. I think that it is very difficult to weed out what is opinion and what is facts. I think that's truthfully the world that we're in, regardless of if you're in a mom Facebook group or not, hashtag fake news. But a lot of the information that you're getting in that moment, it might be exactly what you're looking for, but it might not be 100% true. And a lot of people don't go that extra step to see if it's true. So they're like, oh,
yeah,
my kid has a rash. They must be allergic to turnips. And you're like, wait, they didn't even have a turnip. They're like, nope. This mom said that it happened to her, so it's turnips. And you're like, well, okay.
That's the part of those groups where you have to kind of just let people live their life.
Exactly.
You can't save everybody.
You
definitely can't. You can't save people from themselves either.
You apparently can't save them from turnips either. So, I mean, I completely agree with that. That's such a good way of saying it. Like, you can't save everyone. Yeah, and
you truly can't.
You got
What's your favorite groups on Facebook? Because I know you have to still be a part of a couple mom groups.
You definitely do. I think that I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I think out of necessity, I really looked into the milestone specific groups just because both my kids threw me for a loop. And, Lorenzo didn't start talking until, oh my God, 2 years old. And Raphael didn't start walking until 18 months. And you're in it and you're watching all of these babies on these groups start doing these things at, whatever average time is accurate. And you're like, well, why is my kid doing that? So it was nice to go into like a subcategory group of November 2020 babies who aren't talking or, that kind of thing. And kind of seeing what other people are doing to help not worry so much about that or get the early intervention that they need. Shout out to Early On, United States, Michigan, whatever it is. Both my kids were in it. I am a huge, huge pusher for that. If you feel like your kids aren't hitting certain things and, you know, yes, people are kind of giving you the inkling like, oh, you know, should she or he be walking by now? Call early on. It's free. They come within 2 weeks. And if your kid qualifies, even if they're quote unquote not hitting their milestone, you get an hour of free babysitting for PT and half an hour for speech. And ask me how I know, they're great. But those milestone specific groups were lovely.
I was just looking at my like most recent Facebook searches because I'm like, I'm not on it enough anymore. But I have in here babies born Feb 2023. I think I still frequent that one a little bit more because Cece was on the not so chatty side of talking until recently. So I, you know, connecting and making yourself feel like there's other people in the exact same situation and a developmental milestone as you, I think is very comforting. But then we already talked about your like local buy nothing group on the toy episode. And there's a little moms club Facebook group in my local area that I'm a part of. But other than that, I think I'm still a part of Crunchy Moms, because if my kid's ever dealing with something, an ailment or an illness, I always look there and I look in the search for something similar. And because I always try to go the holistic or natural route when dealing with illness first, I try that route before I would, you know, do anything else. So it's nice to have that kind of insight from years ago. And in those groups, like you can use the search bar and search like 103 fever and stomach ache, and there'll be people who've literally dealt with the same thing. But you also have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Because no two things are ever the same. Everyone's kid is their own little snowflake. Not two snowflakes are alike. So your kid's stomach pain and fever might be something completely different than another kid's stomach ache and fever.
I think I've used this quote specifically, but when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. A lot of the time, it is the most common thing, but sometimes it's not. And we're not doctors. Michaela goes the holistic route. You know, I make fun of her sometimes for some of the stuff that she does for her kids. However, some of her stuff works. And I can attest to that.
Show it does.
Because I cannot believe that my kid had a cough. He was too young for all of the cough medicines and all that stuff. He was congested and all this stuff. What does this girl tell me to do at 11 p.m.? I call her through, you know, crocodile tears. I don't know what to do for this kid. Put onions beside him. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not chopping a salad beside my kid's bed. That's ridiculous. And she goes, no, I'm on the Facebook group right now. Chop onions, put them right beside his head. He's young enough, he can't roll. Actually, I think he was younger than 11 months at this point. Then again, my child didn't roll until he was like, I don't know, he's basically driving. But I remember putting the onions beside the bed and like, I shit you not, okay? Explicit episode. The kid slept for now. Here's the thing. I'm a realist. Could it have been a coincidence? Absolutely.
Yes.
Could it have been the onion?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember you didn't even tell me that either for a while.
I did not want her to know. I'm like, I don't want this. I cannot fucking believe this shit. And I couldn't. Now, am I the woman that a lot of the time, 90% of the time, if my kid's uncomfortable, I can't take it. There's nothing that will prevent me from taking away their pain as quickly as I would want to take it away from myself. Ibuprofen, great. Tylenol, fantastic. Warm bath, cool. Whatever works in that specific area. But I would never have known about the onion trick, okay? That did in fact work, possibly, maybe, if it wasn't for Michaela's Crunchy Facebook mom group. So, is there some truth to these things? Absolutely.
But there are always like extremes too. That group is the crunchiest group on Facebook, and I definitely don't align with a lot of what's going on in there. But when it's there, I definitely use it as a reference. So you don't have to like polarize yourself as a parent. Follow your gut, follow your brain. It'll take you where you need to go.
And all in all, the onions did work. I want to say it here for the first time live.
I'm gonna let you forget that.
Nope, she never will. Now, I DoorDashed Michaela Tylenol at midnight? Yes, I have.
Sure did.
Sure did. Because
I didn't even own it.
Can you fucking give your child some Tylenol? She's got her teeth coming in.
And the dye-free kind too.
Sorry?
It was the dye-free kind too.
It was the dye-free. Of course. I would never poison your children with red dye 40. I'm joking, guys. You're not poisoning them. Just don't.
She would never send it to me.
I would never send her red dye 40, ever. There's a whole Facebook group on that. Okay. And I went down that rabbit hole and I can't go down anymore. I stick to like 3 things. Okay.
I want to talk about the prompt I asked on my Instagram story today.
Yes.
I said, talk to me about Facebook groups. What do you love? What do you hate? I got a lot of mixed answers. One mom, Emily, said, and this hit me really hard too. She said that I had to delete Facebook when I became a mom. The groups were too much. Because
Emily,
it can be.
Sorry. Oh, that sucks.
It totally can be. And then we have Chelsea.
Can I touch on Emily's comment really quickly?
Of course.
Emily, I feel that. I don't have TikTok for this reason. That's just another social media platform. I know we're kind of focusing on Facebook as a whole here, but I think every social media has an area for mothers. And I had to delete TikTok because I find it too overwhelming. And a lot of the stuff that I was seeing was creating a lot of pressure for myself. So I get it. Deleting any social media as a mom, I want to give you a handmade medal because A, it's hard. Facebook is a major social media site where you're able to share how your kids are doing to your family, to your friends. And you get a little bit of serotonin posting there, but I get it. And I'm A, proud of you for deleting it, and B, also sad for you. So I hope that it's given you a little bit of peace.
And it doesn't help that these social media platforms literally have every ounce of information about you, about your kids, about milestones, about breastfeeding. Are you sleeping? They know all. Your phone knows all of this stuff. So when you're seeing these things, it's not only like solidifying how you already feel about how stressful things are, but it's like not letting you forget it either. Like, oh, just so you know, your kid's not walking yet. Like TikTok's like, here's a video about a milestone that your kid's not reaching. Yep. So that's toxic. Number 2, Chelsea said, I have a love-hate relationship with breastfeeding mom groups. I feel that one.
Oh my God.
There are some extremist breastfeeding groups on there, and whatever your opinion on the topic is your opinion. And sometimes those things can be heavily forced down mothers' throats. It's just it can be a really toxic place to be. And we talked about anxiety around starting breastfeeding and feeding. I think that's one of the number one things that gave me anxiety postpartum was just keeping my baby fed. And the groups definitely didn't help at all.
I think it just goes back to the pressure, and those breastfeeding groups, as someone who did both, someone who pumped and someone that, straight from the tapped, you get labeled. And
totally.
As someone who pumped, technically, I didn't breastfeed. Technically, my kid drank breast milk, but I wasn't a breastfeeding mom for Lorenzo. And that bothered me. That bothered me a lot because I didn't fit anywhere.
Yeah.
So was I welcome in this group? Not really. It didn't feel like I was. So I went to the exclusively pumping mom group. Yeah. I felt way more welcome, but then suddenly you're labeled. And that creates this divide again.
You feel like you have to fit into a box.
Exactly. It's awful. Who's next? Oh, I like this. Oh, it's like candy.
Kate said, my local mom group. So just like I said, I have like a local mom group around here. She enjoys her local mom group. Amber said all the Facebook groups have a ton of moms who know everything, and for some reason grandmas with boomer advice. There's always a grandma. There's always a grandma in the group that back in my day, we just gave them milk right from the cow when they were 4 months old. We made formula from scratch. I don't know why you guys are spending $40 a can on it.
You know what's funny is my grandma was the total opposite. And shout out to grandma. You totally said this to me, and I know you don't remember it. But I remember her saying, oh, they can survive off of breast milk? Like, she was flabbergasted that I was feeding a 1-week-old baby just breast milk. And she's like, what about formula? I'm like, well, yeah, but I want to try the breast milk first. And she's like, are you sure they're eating enough? I'm like, I mean, yeah. Like, what else? I'm confused. Isn't this what we're supposed to be doing? I don't know. I have no clue. Anyway, grandma, they both survived. They were both breastfeeding and formula babies. So, didn't matter.
Let's see who's next. Marissa said, I'm in a military spouse group and I'm too scared to post it. Usually it can be helpful though. I can't even imagine being a military spouse. First, the frick of all, you women are some of the strongest people when it comes to like raising kids by yourself.
Unreal.
No breaks.
Unreal.
I can't
no
even.
No breaks. And like, you know, I've met a couple military moms and they don't stop at one kid. There's like, they're big families a lot of the time.
Yeah. That's a whole, so I feel like being a part of those kinds of groups would be really helpful to just feel like a part of something when you're just losing it, when you're going through it with your little ones. Okay.
I love this. It really is like candy.
Jessica says, I do baby wise sleep training, and that's actually my favorite group. Like-minded mamas. Sleep training groups, sleep groups. I think there's a lot of them out there. Oof. A ton of them.
So many.
And she also said, I hate breastfeeding groups, even though I have breastfed. I find them so toxic. I understand. There's one group, I think it's like mama milk lactation, something. I'll try to find it and I can put it in the show notes. That's the only group where I felt there wasn't a pressure. It was just a helpful resource. But a lot of the ones I remember being a part when I had feeding troubles with Charlotte. I mean, I Googled, I was on Reddit, I was on Facebook. I was trying to read books and I was Googling, you know, and there was a group that I think their only helpful advice was like, you have to pump to create. So keep pumping, keep making. And like, I'm like that, but I'm not pumping anything. So that's all they didn't have any other advice outside of, in order to make more, you have to create more. And that was a mind FUCK for me. Like, but I'm not making any. So how do I get to that part?
I think it's exactly like how you talked about no two kids are the same. Everyone's a beautiful snowflake. No two boobs are the same. And whereas a lot of this information is well-meaning, sometimes it just doesn't work. And this is a thought that I could not wrap my head around when I was in it. I couldn't understand from my pumping experience to yours why you couldn't do, 1 ounce or something afterwards. But for some reason, I could do 1 ounce afterwards. It did not compute, but that's where that information is coming from. You're going to these groups, you're asking for this advice, you're looking for an answer.
And you're so vulnerable.
So vulnerable. And I'm not telling you that your experience was wrong or that you're doing something wrong. Your body is just different than mine. And I think that's where people really need to take where you're saying a grain of salt. I had breast milk after my kid drank. Did he not drink enough?
I don't know. I just have no idea. Your kid probably drank a ton, and maybe that's why you weren't getting. Nobody knows. So when you're going into these groups and you're asking the questions, read all of the comments, but go a little bit deeper. Google it. Look up all of these different experiences.
Ask your pediatrician. Talk to somebody who's an expert.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you might just be just one of a kind. Right? I'm
going to take it a step further too and talk about how 20 years ago, when people were raising children, they didn't have Facebook groups. They relied on their own parents, their neighbors, because, people were really close with their neighbors back then. And you're like your own community and your maternal instinct. Like, that's a thing. Remember, as a mom, you have a biological instinct that is connected to your kid. And I think that some of these things make you question what your own instincts tell you. And I'm a very do what your body is feeling. Your body knows your baby. So err on the side of education, but don't forget that that's your child. It's your baby.
It's yours. 100%.
It's your
kid.
We're
passionate. It's your kid.
And even if I also think about people who adopt and have surrogate children. Those are still your kids. Even if you didn't birth them yourself, you still have a biological instinct to protect them, and you're still connected to that baby too. So trust your instinct.
I agree. I think too, something that's been really, I speak for myself here, really humbling and endearing is listening and watching the comments come through from mothers that I haven't spoken to in a very long time over this podcast. And even just the 6 degree of separation, a mom that knows me will text said person and I will get the information third person. And it's just, hey, I went through this. It's so refreshing to hear you guys talk about, X or whatever it is. That is the most heartwarming shit I will read all week. I get that and I just inhale it like it is just helium and I am on a high for the rest of the day.
There are some people who I have been acquaintances with since Facebook came out. I have been friends with them for 10, 15 years on Facebook, but have never spoke to them because back then you just friended people who had friends with people.
Yep.
But then you kind of see their stuff over the last decade and a half. And then you see that they got pregnant. As a mom, you're like, oh, I wonder how they're doing.
Yes. And suddenly you really care about that person.
So it's you go from you're a stranger to I hope that you're doing okay.
How's your baby? How many pounds were they when they were born? Tell me your birth story.
I've messaged so many people who I haven't spoken to in a decade or have literally never spoken to and just said, hey, I saw that you're about to have your baby. I hope that everything goes well. If you need anything at all, let me know. And
you mean it. You mean it.
I totally do.
100% mean it. And my best friend just gave birth 3 days ago. And we were so excited for this baby. I'm so excited for her. Cute little bundle of joy. And it's funny because I know exactly what day she is on at this point of exhaustion and, where I was mentally at that point. And I know that there's probably Googling going on in that house. I also know that, she's really focusing on being with her husband and being with her baby, and it's her first kid and all that stuff. And I'm just checking in every day. Hey, love you. Hey, hope you're good.
That's how it was with my sister.
No pressure to respond. Just thinking of you kind of thing. And I remember one of the girls, exactly how you just said it, and not an acquaintance, but a coworker actually. She was just one of those people that I latched onto. She had sent me a text, the day that I gave birth. And I messaged her 2 days ago and I just said, hey, I want you to know that I really appreciated what you did. I know I didn't respond to every single text message, but thank you, and I'm so happy I know you. I know that you're far away. We don't even live in the same area, but social media tells me that, you're busy, you've got your kids, and I hope life is well. And that's the upside to social media, to Facebook, to Instagram, all of those different things.
There's a big upside for me. I get a lot of like things to do with the kids, activities, homeschool activities, snack ideas, homemade snack ideas. As like a crunchy mom, I try to make my own snacks. It doesn't always happen, but that's the place that I look for those things. Or like Pinterest, birthday party ideas. There's a really good part of social media too, but I think it's been oversaturated with the era of like influencers and momfluencers and just looking at life like through other people's lens and being envious or jealous that that's not your life, or how did they get there? I want to get there. Their kids are so well behaved. And I just want to say a lot of this is completely
manufactured,
fabricated to make it look like it's way better than what it is. So
for sure.
Do you have any tips, Patty, for like keeping authenticity on your own social media platforms? Or
I wasn't good at it. I really wasn't. I was not a good social media years ago. And some of the stuff that pops up on my Facebook wall from years ago is cringe. However, I have realized that everything over the internet comes across differently than it does in person.
Totally.
My tone in person is sarcastic, joking, almost never serious. And
your tone online is very, very serious.
Your tone or mine?
Your tone.
Really? See?
Yeah. Yep.
There you go. So there you go. I think your tone is serious, and I never know if you are in a good mood or a bad mood. So there you go. Two friends who've known each other for upwards of 3 years literally have no idea how they are coming off to each other.
Faces.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes smiley faces can look bitchy. Okay? Fuck you. Fuck you. Here's the problem now. Our entire friendship just changed because now we're going to be sending emojis to each other and just be like, hey, everything's great. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs. And we're like, no, now this is too much and I don't like her anymore. And turns out the podcast was canceled.
You're too emotional.
Exactly. I am the least emotional person in this relationship. 100%. My wise words is pause before you post. Really think about what you want to say. This is also a problem in me and Michaela's relationship because, and it's like we're dating. We're not. We're absolutely not. However, sometimes I do find that it's hard to text people that have the little ellipses notification thingamabob with text messages. So me and Michaela's phones are both Androids. So they see when the other person is trying to type and then
or has read it. Yeah.
Or has read it. And you're like, wait, she hasn't responded now. It's been 4 hours.
That was me the other day when I'm like, just so you know,
I'm not mad.
And
I'm like, are you sure? Because I've been here all day sweating. And it was a Sunday. It was a beautiful day. And I'm like, she's gone.
I thought dumped her for like 7 text messages and then I disappeared.
It was unreal, guys. But like, that's the thing. My husband is absolutely guilty of this too. He will go on Facebook, post like somewhat of an opinion and then never log back on, and his entire friendship group just rips him apart for months, and then he goes back on like 2 months down the line. He's like, oh wow, people were mad. I'm like, dude, open the seriously womb, yeah. Exactly, don't do that. So pause before you post, or think about what you want to text and really read it out loud. This is another Patty's wise words, a little version 2.0. Read what you are reading in your head in that person's voice. And that has really helped me specifically. I will actually disclaimer that to a lot of people because my text messages do come off direct and bitchy. And if I don't put the right inflections, people think I'm the worst person ever. So I will write a block of text, which is a lie. I'm a shooter text. I text in like bullets really fast. And I think one of our mom group friends' husbands said,
to one of our friends, like, hey, is it Patty that's texting you? Because your phone is just bzz, 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 bzz. Meanwhile, other people text in blocks. But after I rocket text for 30 minutes and get all of my thoughts out, at the end, I'll go, hey, could you go back and read that in my voice? And people will go back, read it all, and go, oh, she's just having a day.
Oh,
she's not mad at me.
That's a really good advice, to be honest with you. I mean, we don't know everyone on the internet, but at least people like in your own little corner of the internet.
But that's the thing too. And like, people are well-meaning. I don't know if it was, oh God, maybe this was Chris. I don't want to tell people it's Chris though, because then I'm never going to hear the end of it. But always assume positive intent is another thing.
Yeah.
People are well-meaning. They may not have all the information. Turnip girl, I don't know where you're all at, but it's probably not the turnip. The girl that posted her undies on the Facebook group, again, we don't really want to see that, but thanks for sharing.
She's probably really worried. I mean, like, honestly, the empath in me is probably like, it's good space for her to get it out.
Literally get it out. Put it in the
My biggest advice is
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to look at my undies the same. I'm just going to send you pictures of them now. Michaela, does this look right to you? It's just folded underwear, like totally clean, straight out the dryer.
Clean with the tag on it.
She's like, it does look great, honestly.
I've been actually starting to purge my Facebook because I'm like, I want this to be a safe space now. I have 1.5 thousand friends. So I'm slowly just plugging away. Like when people post, I'm like, I don't want you there. Hasta luego. But I like to keep my scrolling space the very same way. I don't follow people that annoy me. I don't follow people that show fake on the internet. I let them have their own corner, and I want no part of it. I want, when I'm like scrolling or falling down the rabbit hole, like I want it to be things that I'm interested in and not like a space of negative like emotion feelings, you know? I don't want to feel guilty about anything. It's really just selfish.
Another thing that maybe doesn't really have to do with motherhood, but something that like really irks me is the long relationship posts. So the ones that are like, I love you so much, baby. It's been so nice to be with you for the last 9 years.
And we've been seeing these posts for the last 10 years.
And I'm like, I truly believe, you know how they say like the higher the hair, the closer to God, like down in the South, like they used to say that in like the 60s or something. I believe the longer the post, the closer to divorce. That's just my opinion. That's a grave that I will go. That's a hill I'll die on. All right. If you're posting a 14-page if you're posting a 14-page dissertation on how much you love your spouse, you don't love them that much. Go tell them to their face. Just post a picture. Happy 7. Move on. Nobody cares. Sorry. Just got really mad right there.
All right.
Patty's really mad. She hasn't gotten a 14-page dissertation from her own husband.
That's what I was going to say, Chris. Where's your dissertation?
Start typing. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week, everyone. I really enjoyed this one. Hit the subscribe. Yeah. Hit the subscribe, the follow, maybe the like button, leave us a comment, and put some stars on Spotify. We love stars.
I love the stars.
I love stars. And do it on any of our socials. We love hearing from you guys. Please do not send us any unsolicited photos. We don't want to see them.
You know what? If you got to the end of this episode and you heard us say leave a star on any of our socials, if you put a star on one of our Instagram posts, I'll put you in a pool.
You can send us whatever you want.
I will put you in a pool, and one of you will get a $10 Starbucks gift card. So,
shutty. Can it be me?
So now you will all listen to the end of every episode because you never know when there's going to be an Easter egg.
Cheat code. Next week we have another episode that I don't remember the name of. So wish I could tell you.
You know, It's
Who knows?
I know
It could be anything.
it could be, but next week's episode will be, and if it's not, then we'll revisit it next week. But it's going to be best laid plans, just best laid plans.
That's our plan anyway. Could be best laid. Who knows?
I think this is about binkies, bottles, and boobies.
I love binkies. JK, I don't even, my kids hardly took a binky, but find out next week. We hope that you all had a laugh, that you learned something. Please, 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 please. If you listen to this episode, share it anywhere.
Put it somewhere.
Share, put it on your Facebook groups. Do it. I dare
Post
you.
it.
I'll take whatever photos you throw at me if you do that. A little bit of clout finder, whatever. I'm just gonna shut up. Have a great
new app.
Oh dear. Have a great week.
Bye.